that he and I both do that we're very passionate about is we go around to the smaller bar groups that starting out and we see how they're operating. We offer them pointers. If they have a good system going, we'll flood them with invites and get a bunch of people in their bar and try to build up all the smaller bars as well. Because we are very, very community driven.
That makes sense. That's interesting,
I
dude.
also I work for the creators of the Sunset. I'm a DC.
I was gonna say, like, do you guys like actually communicate with some of the more popular world designers and kind of like use like?
Not really, to be honest. Like the owner of the place is Lingy and Rennie, and they've been mostly just focusing on their own stuff. Like they basically built that world from scratch. They didn't use like any prefab 3D models. They built that shit from scratch. And what's crazy is they made the drink machine from scratch as well.
Oh shit! Okay.
That drink machine is really cool.
We do both have a fairly decent working relationship with a lot of the creators of several of the big popular bar worlds, the Oppie Bar group, King Crimson. We have a good business partnership with him. Hank and Coco and them over at Bar Black, and Coco and Sparkle. They're amazing. We got a good working relationship with them. We like to promote all their worlds too.
Okay, so with the business model side of things, like, how do you guys kind of go about keeping it alive, funding some of these like world developments? Because I know, like Slick, you don't build worlds in Unity, you don't build avatars or anything, but like, how are you guys kind of funding this? Is it just all out of pocket, out of passion, or is it like you kind of have like a donation structure?
A lot of mine comes from where I sell VIP subscriptions. I sell those. They're $10 a month, and I got 22 people on there right now that are paying $10 a month to be VIPs in my bar.
That's not bad. That's not bad.
It's not bad. It's a nice little chunk of money. And the thing is, like, that pays for the instances. They're not free. To be able to put your images and stuff in there, that costs money. And it also pays for my staff. I don't expect them to work for free. I pay them.
Okay. So you're actually like literally running a bar. Like you're paying the employees, the bartenders, the moderators, I guess, like technically bouncers, I guess.
Yep.
To kind of like hold the instance structure.
On the back end of that, I also have a merch store. I sell merch. I have decals, can koozies, hoodies. I'm working on keychains and a bunch of other shit, man.
Yeah, no, you were sending me a bunch of pictures of that on Discord. That's actually sick. I actually admire that. It's cool as fuck. So like,
I'm thinking of getting something.
And Rick's mentoring me. I haven't quite gotten to that level, but I'm going to be working with him to get that structure down. And he's been helping me get my bar back off the ground, and then I'll be doing the same kind of thing. I want to do fundraisers and stuff.
Yes.
Like, so we can do contests, because I want to be able to give back to the community. We got a few different friends who they do giveaways of like Discord Nitro. I won $120 from a giveaway one night just from inviting people to come hang out at their instance, and they gave it away, and I won. And I want to be able to do stuff like that to get back to the community, because I love this community, and I want to reward or give back to them like they've given to me.
That makes a lot of sense. I mean, I understand that completely. I've been kind of on the same trend. Like, okay, how could I engage an audience that I might build, like with either events or private instances? Or I've been taking a book from his playbook, and kind of like, okay, maybe I can have more engaging things happening in these instances, in these private group events. That would be different from just joining a normal public lobby and stuff like that. I've been on that kind of same trend. So like, tell me, like, if you're not actually designing the world yourselves, like, how do you go about reaching out to people to like actually get your instance like built?
Basically, you just reach out to them in their Discords. A lot of them will have their Discord on their profile. and just reach out to them, and they can send you a link, and then you just join their Discord, and you'll probably either get a code or something like a Patreon link or something of that nature.
So it's like a
A lot of
ticket
people do
system,
that.
kind of like you get
Kinda,
pulled
yeah.
from a queue.
They get the VR chat board. You link to that, and you link to the Patreon.
So you're talking about getting your image up on another instance that people are like renting to you.
Yeah, basically, yeah. You're leasing it for the month.
Have you looked into getting your own world built at all? Like, have you been in talks with anybody like that?
No, I haven't yet.
We
Not that
we
big
do
yet.
have some good friends who are budding will creators who are in the process of self-teaching themselves how to build, and I'm going to be looking to them once they feel confident and ready and utilize, as much as we all love, these big worlds everybody shares. I would much rather build up some of these smaller people, again, the community.
Yeah, no, that's an interesting thing because I've noticed that. I feel like a large portion of what makes some of the private groups really interesting is a completely like unique experience. Like I've never really been to the bar venue that Rick will host other than his group, which it always does make it feel like it's a completely different environment than just going to like a midnight bar or a Sunset Strip bar. And instead, you could actually go to this like off kilter, but there's people here. You know what I mean? It's engaging. There's like actually people to talk to rather than it kind of almost being almost like a normal VR chat lobby where you're just having a bunch of like kids come in. It's a little annoying. Like you don't see that at a group like his, and I'm probably assuming at yours too. And that's what I think is very intriguing about it. Is like that's probably why people would be paying. You know what I mean?
Yeah, everybody tries to promote their own little culture, and that's one thing that Rick and I share a very strong bond on is moderating, having an instance that's moderated well, and to the where everybody has just freedom just to have fun and not have all that nonsense that tends to happen. And yeah, it's good to have those spaces like that.
So here's a good question about moderation. So how would you guys handle a more public altercation? So like say this isn't something small. This is like everybody's involved. How do you go about like handling that without completely killing the vibe? Like I've seen that quite a few times just in random worlds. So I'm gonna go.
It's honestly, it's not easy. Sometimes you got to just let it play out and see who the aggressors are, and those are the two that I pick out. And what I'll do is say, like, if I'm in the Sunset or if I'm in the Crimson instance, I'll jail both of them because I don't know which one's the actual aggressor or which one started the bullshit. But I'll jail both, and then I'll go to jail cell, get them out of the bar instance where they're not creating any more problems. Get them back in the jail cell and figure out what's going on back there. I will not do that shit in the middle of the bar. I get them out where we're alone and deal with it back there.
Okay, that's actually really interesting because most people and like most lobbies just kind of just let this build up as they try to figure it all out in front of everyone, which I find that to be very interesting.
We both of us have experience with real life bars. I hosted karaoke in bars here in OKC for a year. So, like, I know how and it's really no different sitting in a VR bar versus sitting in a real bar. I'm sorry, as far as this goes, but you kind of we let them play out the way that you would a real situation. And like you said, just monitoring it and then separating them. But that helps, is having that kind of knowing how a real bar handles that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense too. I mean, honestly, if you guys aren't allowing just the random general public to just come in and mess around so much, you're kind of limited to only a select serious situation, which is why I'm like more interested, because when everybody is just vibing around in like one common space, when stuff pops off, it's like it's aggressive sometimes. Like it's like a little over the top. So kind of always interesting to hear.
The good thing is once you start building these communities like many of our bars have, people tend to flock to there for that environment and that ambiance, and therefore you get a lot of the group moderates itself to where we don't really have to do much because they're already doing it. And if we know we have our people that if they were to vote to kick somebody, we know that they're doing it because it's an actual reason, and we go handle the situation to where the point that we don't have to do too much to deal with that kind of stuff because our community helps us do it, because they want that environment themselves.
I mean, that makes a lot of sense too. I mean, that's always nice to have like loyal people that are a part of this, which is what's interesting about a lot of the VR group scenes, in my opinion. I feel like there's a small like little circle within it, and there's always that kind of dynamic, even if it is a group public instance that is just out and about right now. I've noticed that there's always the select people that literally hang out in the group, and then there's people who are kind of either associated with somebody here or have like joined off random, you know what I mean? And that little circle does kind of dictate what happens. I mean, that literally happened to us like 2 days ago. So like most of the people who were associated with us were coming up to us talking about it. They're like, oh, this person's being a nuisance, but it's like they're not messing with anybody else in the instance other than the vibe of the actual like scene, which is who we're tending to, you know what I mean? Which is what's interesting. I don't think a lot of people, especially players, joining in on some of these more like honestly private instances in a way, don't realize that there is that environment here, you know what I mean? I think that social dynamic is super interesting to me, bro. I'm sorry, I just had to ask, bro. But those are some interesting answers, though. Honestly, I like Rick's though. Taking them out completely, just completely separating them. That's like a really good move, dude. I think that especially with trying to keep it something that a lot of people can be involved in, you just pluck them out real quick.
We try to preserve the what's the word I'm looking for? The immersion, the feel of the game. We try to preserve that. So we take extra measures to